Good morning, students. Myself, Major Komal Katyal, Department of Zoology, G.K. Gwani Government College, Bhinmal. Today, we will discuss about the second part of class Amphibia. In the first part, I told you regarding the general characteristic features of class Amphibia and outline classification of class Amphibia, including the extinct and living order. In detail, I had described the extinct orders belonging to subclass Stegocephalia. Today, we will discuss about the list Amphibia and the 3 living orders of Amphibia. They are Anura, examples are frogs and toads. Caudata, examples are salamanders and newts. Apoda, examples are caecilians. Amphibians are significant because they represent the most primitive vertebrates with 4 limbs that maintain a terrestrial neck. कहने का मतलब ये है कि जो एम्फीबिया वर्ग के जंतु हैं वो उनका उद्विकास के हिसाब से इसलिए अधिक महत्व होता है क्योंकि जो चतुष्पाद हैं, चतुष्पाद में वो सबसे आदिम माने जाते हैं जो स्थलचर हैं. Now with the first order, the order Anura or Salientia. Anura actually meaning the absence of tail or tailless feature. It is a Greek word. An or a means absent and aura means tail. So they are the amphibians in which the adults have no tail. So adults are without tail. The Latin word saliens meaning leaping, and it is for the hind limbs modified for jumping or leaping as well as for swimming. The adults are without gills or gill openings. The eyelids are well formed. You can easily observe them in the case of frogs and toads. The tympanum is present because you must have heard the vocalization of male frog, especially during the monsoon. Skin is loosely fitting. It is generally scaleless and mandibles are toothless. Their pectoral girdle is bony. तो हम बात कर रहे थे गण एन्यूरा या सैलियंशिया के बारे में, जिसमें उनके जो पश्चपाद हैं, पश्चपाद क्या होते हैं? कूदने के लिए या तैरने के लिए विकसित होते हैं. जो वयस्क जंतु हैं उनके अंदर गिल्स या गिल छिद्रों का अभाव होता है. टिम्पेनम इनमें उपस्थित होती है और इनकी जो त्वचा है वो बहुत ढीली ढीली सी होती है जिस पे कोई भी स्केल नहीं होता है, मतलब शल्क का अभाव होता है. और जो जबड़े हैं उनके अंदर दांत नहीं होते. जो अंश मेखला है, अंश मेखला पूर्ण रूप से अस्थिल होती है. देयर आर मोर देन 3,500 species of frogs and toads which generally occupy the temperate as well as tropical climates around the world, and basically they feed on insects. So it means their neck is insectivores. The second example is toad, which is characterized by hard and what covered skin which is more or less dry and can secrete poison with their skin as they have a modified parotid gland on the dorsal side. As far as habitat and neck is concerned, toads generally have same neck as the frogs, but they are more terrestrial as their skin is much more drier than the frog. Apart from it, the head portion of toad is less triangular in comparison to frog. These are two common examples. One, the elytis with eggs, and the second one is of a tree frog, that is Hyla arborea. Now about the second order, that is Uodela or Caudata. Euro is actually derived from eura, which is a Greek word meaning tail, and delos means visible. It means the tail is visible in the case of Uodels. The second word, that is Caudata, Latin word cauda means tail and eta means bearing. So those animal in which tail is clearly visible. So the members of order Caudata or Uodela are known as tailed amphibians. They are lizard-like amphibian with a distinct tail. The limbs are two pairs. It means one pair of forelimb and one pair of hind limb, which are generally weak, not as strong as of reptiles, almost equal, with tetradactyl forelimb and pentadactyl hind limb. The skin, again like the frogs and toads, devoid of scale, and tympanum is also absent. The gills are permanent or lost in some species. It means lost in some adults. The males are without copulatory organ. The larvae are adult-like and with teeth, and neoteny has been observed in certain species of salamander. The metamorphosis is controlled by presence of iodine in the surrounding water, and this iodine is required for the formation of thyroxine, the hormone secreted by thyroid gland, which actually control the metamorphosis. And if sufficient amount of iodine is absent, the axolotl larva does not metamorphose, and after some time it attains the sexual maturity and start reproducing, which is known as neoteny. So they also have poison glands, have tails, largely cartilaginous limbs, and that's why I told you earlier on, the limbs are weak. Habitat, they live near water, under moist rocks and logs. These are the examples: Amphibia, Ambiostoma, the tiger salamander, axolotl larva, and Proteus. You can easily see the external gills in the axolotl larva. Next, the third order, Gymnofauna or Apoda. Gymno means naked and ophionios means serpent-like. It means serpent-like naked amphibians. A means absent or without, and podos means foot. It means they are footless or limbless amphibians. So basically they are blind, elongated, worm-like, burrowing tropical forms known as Sicilian. It is a secondary adaptation which is found in apodans, as they have a burrowing mode of living where limbs are no longer required. Tail is generally short, so body can be divisible only into two portions, the head portion and the trunk portion. They are characterized by certain dermal scales which are generally found embedded in their skin, and certain folding is also present in their skin. The skull is compact and it is roofed with bone. Limb girdles are absent. This is the common example, the Ureotyphus, a Sicilian characterized by absence of limb, scaleless skin, hence known as Gymnofauna, the naked skin, lives in low herbaceous plantation. It is fossorial, it means burrowing, and prefer moist environment. This is ichthyophis, and again the Ureotyphus. Both are burrowing. You can easily see the wrinkles in their skin. Now the summary of the characteristic feature of amphibians: they have no nails or claws, minimal number of homodont teeth, most have a tongue that is projectile and sticky, spends first stage of life in water as tadpoles. They go through drastic changes during development caused by changes in hormones. Tadpoles are herbivores while adults are carnivores. As far as their reproductive system is concerned, in the case of amphibians, the sexual dimorphism is there, but more or less the male and female are similar. The external fertilization is characteristic feature of amphibians, which takes place in the moist environment because they still require water for the reproduction. Exception to external fertilization are salamanders. Only about 10% are external. Jelly-like eggs need to be laid in water. An interaction between internal, that is the largely hormonal control, and extrinsic factor determine their timing of reproductive activities, as we have observed in the case of various species of frogs and toads. Their offspring develop through a process called metamorphosis. तो जो एम्फीबियन है उनमें जो जनन तंत्र है, जनन तंत्र में हमेशा निषेचन बाह्य होता है. जो अंडे हैं वो जेली के समान पूरा उसका एक झुंड होता है, जो पानी, जहाँ पे छिछला पानी होता है वहां पर या नम वातावरण में ये देते हैं. और जो इनकी संतति है वो टेडपोल लार्वा या टेडपोल के समान लार्वा से होती है. As far as the vocalization is concerned, it is also characteristic feature in the case of male anurans. These calls attract females to breeding areas and to announce to other males that a given territory is occupied. कहने का मतलब ये है कि जो अलग अलग तरह की आवाज जो मेंढक निकालता है, ये बेसिकली अपने मेट को मेल द्वारा निकाली जाती है, एक मादा मेंढक को अपनी तरफ आकर्षित करने के लिए और साथ साथ में दूसरे नर मेंढक को सचेत करने के लिए कि यह इलाका उसका है. These calls may also cause some hormonal changes internally to occur reading the breeding process in the females. Sounds are caused by air being forced from the lungs over the vocal cords and cartilage of the larynx, causing them to vibrate. साधारणतया इस तरह की जो आवाज है वो हार्मोन द्वारा नियंत्रित होती है और जो जनन ऋतु है मादा के, उसके अनुसार नर के अंदर भी जनन ऋतु होती है और फिर ही वो क्या करता है, इस तरह की आवाज उत्पन्न करता है. और ये आवाज तब उत्पन्न की जाती है जब जो हवा है बहुत तेजी से जो स्वर रज्जु है, स्वर रज्जु के ऊपर से गुजरती है और वहां का जो कार्टिलेज है लैरिंग्स का, वो वाइब्रेट करता है, स्पंदन करता है. So in the last part, I would like to summarize the special amphibian facts that amphibians have a double life because they spend half their life in water and half on land, because tadpole is totally aquatic while frog is semi-terrestrial because it requires water for reproduction. Apart from it, it generally lives in the moist environment. Then the presence of tadpoles and frogs show the signs of good environment health. Generally, the tadpoles and frogs are present if in some water body. It indicates that that water body has more purity of water. So this is all about the second part of class Amphibia. Thank you, one and all.